Right, and go. Welcome. This is Lost in the Maze for this is the solo show. This is me flexing my broadcasting muscles. Can I do an hour by myself and it still be entertaining in some way? I mean, I don't really care if it's entertaining or not. People seem to watch it. It's funny. I have no problem reading the comments on all this stuff because I mean, what more do I have to lose? If I see some negative comments, it's like, well, you're not gonna fuck up my day more than I've already fucked up my whole life. But it is, it's funny because I do engage with that stuff, and then if I start talking about it on here, creating something showing that I'm engaging with the comments, and then if there's further comments commenting on this and what I'm doing now, then we're kind of, it kind of will create this sort of this feedback loop of like perpetual energy of me saying something and then you comment on it and then I comment on the comments and you comment on my comments on the comments, and we're kind of then we're in like a hyper real situation, facing two mirrors at each other, world's oldest bar and stuff like that. But I saw that there were some people saying, like this is really, these things he's doing, these solo shows are really that's bumming me out. It's depressing. I hate it. Blah blah blah. And yeah, I mean, my life sucks, but the fact that you're like watching what I'm doing and engaging with it in any way means that I beat you. I win the game of the mind that we're playing, because it's like, yeah, you don't have to watch this. There's no reason for anybody to sit down and watch me talk to myself for an hour. But if you do watch this and then take the time to type something out and post it in the comments section, that's engagement, which means I win. See, that's the world we live in now, is positive or negative. If you're interacting with anything I'm doing on the internet, I win because there's eyes on me, and that's all I want. Trying I'm not trying to elicit any other reaction than people paying attention to what I'm doing. So I mean, love it or hate it, if you're watching it and like taking any time out of your day to ingest the the slop that I'm throwing out onto the internet, then I win in that situation. And eventually it'll, that'll turn into like advertising money, or like, whatever, however it works. As much as I don't like the guy, that Malaysian fellow, Ian Miles Chong, Ian Miles Bing Bong, bum 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 bum, that guy. All he does all day on Twitter or X, whatever that little goblin does, is he just reposts. It's really strange what he does, because oh he just like reposts things people have already posted or been talking about. And I guess, like, from what I've seen, based on who he is, based on what people already know about him, he doesn't really add much to the conversation. He just like posts a video that's already been going around, and then says like, here's this video, and then here's what's happening in the video. And then he doesn't offer any real commentary most of the time. Like he just like, it'd be like a video of like a black lady screaming on an airplane, and then it's like, here's a black lady screaming on an airplane, and then like he'll quote something she says in the video, and then it's just like the video itself. And then there'll be like 8,000 comments, 20,000 likes, and then whatever the impressions are, where it's like 1.2 million people have seen this post from Ian Miles Chong, and he's making money doing that. And he's not, but he did like, he's not even like rage baiting anybody. He's not saying anything, and I guess like he knows what he is in the media. So he like I guess he knows that like just me being me, I post something like this, people can already surmise like what my opinions on it are. And so I don't even have to do the work of like offering my commentary that I normally would. I could just repost this, and then everyone in the comments section will just assume what my opinion was on this video, and they'll all start fighting with each other over ideologies. And I like literally did not have to do anything, and then he makes money doing that. And then I guess every now and then he'll say like this is the America is crumbling, even though I don't know if he's ever like left Malaysia, is what people say about him. I don't know who he is. I don't know who any of these fucking people are. I'm like, I log on the internet and I'm like, who is Sneeko? I see all these people complaining about a guy named Sneeko, and I'm like, I don't know who this is. And then I click on his profile, and it's like hundreds of thousands of people following him, and I'm like, who the fuck is this? I don't know why is this guy dangerous? And it's like his whole thing is like women suck and I hate gay people or whatever. But I'm like, I don't know who any of these people are. Who's that other one? That lady, shoe on head. Dude, I've been lost the entire time I've been on the internet. I have no fucking clue who anyone is. I'm surprised that somebody like me developed like any sort of like voice on the internet that anyone pays. Is not a lot of people, but maybe it's enough to build something at some point. But I have no clue who anyone is. I just see these like bizarre accounts I've never heard of saying like really inflammatory things, and then it's like, oh, 800, some guy named Dom Luker has 800,000 followers, and he posted like child abuse on his he got like banned from Twitter for a couple days because he posted like just like footage of something happening that like even like I guess like the FBI had been looking for, and he had it on his hard drive, and it was like I guess he had the Pete Townsend defense where it's like, nah, this was for research. He's like a hotep kind of guy, so he's like, nah, I had this. I'm trying to help the damn kids. That's why I got all this child pornography on my computer. I'm trying to help the damn kids. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to save the world by spreading conspiracy theories, talking about I know how the pyramids was made, and I will release that information any day now. When the time is right, I'll be telling everybody how the damn pyramids was made. That's his whole account. I mean, salute. What a great grift to be like a I don't know, like a black Republican conspiracy theorist. I saw a lady on something on TikTok, this black lady like complaining about the fact that white people have learned have like figured out what hoteps are. Like they've figured out the word hotep, and I was like, well, that's nothing new. I thought we all knew what that was for the longest time. And she was like, are we just gonna let white people gentrify another word of ours? And of all the words that white people have stolen from black people, like woke or whatever the words may be, I can't possibly think of what we might do with hotep. I don't think we're going to be able to like take hotep and turn that into something that what you'll see on like a McDonald's ad or anything. I think we just are aware that there's like really goofy guys out there who are like, we was kings. Yeah, I've known about that forever. I mean, well, first I thought it was like Bubba Hotep, that movie, that Bruce Campbell movie where he was like Elvis impersonating an Elvis impersonator. When did it come out? I think it was like 2006. forget who directed it. Was it Sam Raimi that no, I don't I can't remember who made it. It's a really good movie, but the whole plot of the movie is that Elvis faked his death and then was in hiding and started working as an Elvis impersonator and now lives in a nursing home. And his best friend at the nursing home is a black guy who claims to be JFK. That they took fake JFK's death and then erased his memory, turned him black. And so then they some like a mummy or something attacks the nursing home, starts stealing people's souls, and so they Elvis refers to as Bubba Hotep. It's a good ass movie. It's it's one of those I guess like cult favorites. A lot of people I've shown it to said it's one of the dumbest things they've ever watched, and it's like, hey, fuck you, pal. If you don't appreciate great cinema, if you can't appreciate the brilliance of framing a movie where it's Elvis impersonating an Elvis impersonator, I don't think you don't appreciate how genius that is. But yeah, nothing I can do for you, pal. But yeah, I guess that was where I first heard about I first heard the word Hotep, and I can't remember when I found out about the guys who dress like with the weird hats and stand outside and what do they complain about, like circumcision and I guess like I don't really know what their whole deal is. I know it's like they don't like women and they think like black men were kings and kings and king of queens. That's the real Hotep right there. Doug Heffernan, Kevin James. um, yeah, I mean, I don't think Hotep is going to be a word that white people are able to take away from black people. But I have been getting really back into TikTok lately, and it's I didn't realize it was getting as horny as it is. It's like almost like an insidious sort of like it's not pornography, but the things some of the women are doing on there seem almost like more malicious than porn. Like whatever whatever porn does to your brain, I know is bad, but there's gonna be like something weird that happens with dudes who grow up with TikTok instead of porn because um like with porn for the most part, it's like you're still like distanced from what's happening in the video in a way. Like even if it's a POV or being presented as like from a first person perspective, it's like you're aware that it's a production and being made for the like entertainment of like all kind like tons and tons of different people. And so there's like this distance between you and what you're watching. Whereas like a lot of the women on TikTok are doing this thing where they're like talking into the camera as though it's like a porno, and it's all in like these bite-sized clips and it's like all very seductive stuff, and it comes across to me as though they're trying to like close the gap between what's happening on in the video and who like you watching it, so that you like develop like a closer connection with this like one specific person, you know like one of the ones I've seen is like just up close kisses, like up close smooches, where the woman will be sitting there and then she'll be like, "Come here," and then just like press her lips against the camera and start doing like smooches at it, and then like licking her lips and being all sexy. And I gotta be honest with you, it's pretty nice. It's pretty fun to watch. But there's something about like those types of videos. They're like ones where like a woman will just like sit on just sit on the camera and be like, "Oops, I didn't mean to sit there." And it's all very suggestive because it's all on TikTok. So it'll be like a lady, like the like implications that she's like jacking you off, but her hands just out of the frame, so you could just see her like moving her arm up and down, and she'll be like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then the video will cut and loop back. So it's all this like really suggestive, these like really suggestive, intimate things that are happening that are all like designed to work around the TikTok censorship. And something about it feels more intimate and like more insidious than pornography, because it's like these, it's not like a production studio making a porno to be distributed to tons and tons of people, because that right there is like that arrangement in itself is like puts distance between you and what's happening in the video. But if it's just like this lady with like hundreds of TikTok accounts doing these like very intimate POV style things that are like suggesting that something sexual is happening but not explicitly showing it, but trying to like create this, I don't know if this is making any sense what I'm saying. I just noticed that like it seems like what these like accounts are trying to do is create this like simulation of intimacy with whoever's watching this stuff to like close the gap on like what no like the like the viewer's relationship is with this kind of material, so that you like develop a more like intimate connection with whoever this is. And I suppose that like OnlyFans does the same thing. I don't know. I've never subscribed to anyone's. No, I did subscribe to an OnlyFans at one time. It was a lady I found on TikTok, and she was like, it was just this weird thing where it's like she wasn't particularly attractive. She just looked like a fat girl from where I'm from. Like she was like this like early 20s lady with braces and just like kind of fat and not necessarily attractive, but she had this like really like horrible trashy vibe about her that I just like couldn't, I was just very curious about. So I did subscribe to her OnlyFans for like a month, and it was honestly boring. The women on that site don't know what the fuck they're doing, if that's like the quality of content that they're putting on there. It was very tame, and she just seemed like she was out of her element doing, I guess, like amateur pornography. That's the thing that's the thing that gets me with OnlyFans is like presumably the selling point of like OnlyFans would be the same thing that I was just talking about, where it's like a more intimate connection between the performer and the audience, where it's like you're directly paying this person for this material. So that right there, that like financial relationship gives you like more of a connection, and now you have like this exclusive access to the tits and holes of whoever this woman is. And maybe that's like enough that it's more interesting than regular pornography in that way. But I didn't find anything that was on this page to be particularly good. I there's better, I've seen better stuff on many other websites for free. And anything I've seen from other only, go, because every now and then I'll try and find like leaked stuff from OnlyFans. I mean, if you're putting it on there, it's somewhere for free. And I've never seen anything from OnlyFans I thought was particularly entertaining. It's all very tame, and the women just seem like kind of confused, like they're not particularly comfortable with what they're doing, nor should they be. Um, and I can just tell like, oh yeah, this is a woman who like 7 or 8 years from now is gonna deal with a certain amount of regret for having done this. I mean, good on you for, I mean, I saw that that tall bitch that pops up on TikTok and YouTube all the time. What's her name? Marie Tamara. I think she lives in somewhere in Florida. I saw that she was clearing like $300,000 a month on OnlyFans. So I mean, good for her. But I sought it out. I saw some of her leaked stuff, some leaks from her site, and it's like, I mean, you're bad at this. You have no fucking clue how to show your holes to the camera. This sucks. I've seen better stuff from like a Serbian cam house where it's just a lady in a cubicle with one of them robots that has a dildo attached to it. Just some like chubby European lady smoking a cigarette while a robot fucks her. She's better at this than you are. That's the thing. You got to give it some gusto. You got to be a performer. Because it's not like it's like with porn stars. It's like, yeah, I mean, some of them are definitely like attractive, but they're not the hottest women. You know what I mean? Like they're the most attractive versions of women who are willing to put themselves through those situations, through that career. But there's nobody of like the same caliber as like Margot Robbie doing pornography. It's all like the Margot Robbies of Tampa, like the Myrtle Beach version of whoever like in a high attractive celebrity would be doing porn. Like like an Alabama 7, but like a Hollywood 4. You know what I mean? That tends to gravitate towards becoming a pornographic actress. Speaking of which, what the fuck is going on with Sasha Grey now? Like, I keep seeing her like just pop up on like TikTok and Instagram, and she's doing like cooking videos and Twitch streaming and shit like that, and having like philosophical discussions. And I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Like, why do you think that anybody cares about like the pasta that you're making, or that anyone cares about like the deep thoughts you're trying to have, lady? I saw you lick cum off a damn toilet seat. What are you talking about? You don't get to like pivot to being some like the Julia Childs type of person. It's like, no, you made your fucking bed. Now sleep in it. Sleep in your like gross sheets covered in body fluid. Um, and yeah, I don't know why. I don't understand. I don't understand the guy that's gonna see a video of Sasha Grey cooking and watch the whole video instead of going, "Oh yeah, I remember her," and then close it and then just go watch old porn of her. You know, like I'm not gonna if I see if Sasha Grey pops up on my timeline, I'm not gonna be like, "Oh shit, what she's up to? She's reading philosophy and oh okay." And I'm like, "All right, X videos, Sasha Grey 18. There we go." This takes me back to being a teenager. I wonder, does anyone else have that? Like, you have like the go tos for like porn, where it's like like all the people that you like discovered in your formative years that you just like have always gone back to. Like, it's almost like I like a comfort thing. Well, like how there's like grown people now who still watch like old episodes of SpongeBob. It's like I'm still looking up like old videos of Belladonna that I remember really enjoying as a budding youth. Just finding like old clips of Dana Diarmond and being like, "Oh shit, yeah, I remember this. I remember the internet's girlfriend." She looks fucking crazy now. That was like I was always like enjoyed the fact that she never had any work done. She was just a crazy bitch, like in the shit she would do. And then like all of a sudden I saw her on some video recently, and it's like, yo, what the fuck did you do, lady? Like she's got like huge fake veiny tits now, and like this big dumb ass. I guess she got like a BBL or something. She looks like a clown. She looks like the fucking bitch in that the leprechaun explodes in Leprechaun 3 is what Dana Dearmon looks like now. And I saw him like you would have aged way more gracefully if you had just kept them little perkies you had and just kept doing like wild, gross shit. You were a crazy fucking bitch, and now you got like just big fake tits and a fake ass and like weird lips now, and oh, it's horrible to see. I don't know, I don't know what these people are doing to themselves. Kira Noir got big fake tits, and it was always like, no, you were one of the few black ones that I liked. um, yeah, I remember when Adriana Chechik got some big fakers. It's like I don't know what you see when you look in the mirror, but you know, it's like you had the goods already. Clearly, you were like making a career in this industry. Why do you think you got, why do you think you need to like try and improve upon this? Because it never goes well. It's always, like if I'm beating off to a certain thing and then all of a sudden she's got like big fake tits and fake ass, it's like, I can tell like, oh, yep, now we're on the decline. Now she's getting to the point where she's like really starting to hate herself and she thinks plastic surgery is going to be what fixes this. And this just leads to inevitably what'll end up happening is like she's getting hooked on pills to like numb herself for these scenes, and then she has to leave the industry because she turns like 34, and that's might as well be 100 in porn years, and then once she's out of it for a couple of years, it all just sort of hits her when she like realizes like, oh, that was fucked up that I did that for so long. And then they become like a born again Christian or something, and then go on speaking tours talking about like how abusive and awful the industry is, and like the psychological damage it does to you. And it's like with stuff like that, it's always like, well, I understand that the people in charge of those like production companies and studios can't are like abusive and manipulative, but I would say like, you know I suppose the cliche would be that like a lot of the women that do porn probably didn't have like good relationships with their dads. Maybe I don't know, but I don't think there's like a woman out there who growing up and then like reaching 18 is not aware of like how nobody that loves her wants her to go into that business. It's like the worst thing that could happen for a dad is if like his little girl decides to become a porn star. Like truly, like if I had a daughter, that would I would be devastated if that happened. But then I guess if she became rich off of it, I'd be like, all right, well, buy me a fucking house, bitch. Um, but I'm still disappointed in you. But so yeah, it's like that's every dad's worst fucking nightmares. This little baby girl is getting, triple D'd. She's getting diners, drive-ins, and dives in her ass on camera. That's the worst thing that could happen. And then like all the porn stars get interviewed, and like all these interviews they ask them like, so what do your parents think of you being in this business? And they all say like the same thing where it's like, well, they were kind of hesitant at first. They were kind of upset at first, but now that I have like they support me and all that, and it's like, well, yeah, they're your parents. Like a lot of parents will support their children no matter like what dumbass fucking terrible decisions they're making, because a parent's love tends to be unconditional, especially like with people like in my generation and younger than me. Like we were like the first generations to receive like truly more unconditional love from our parents. So it's like, yeah, your parent, I mean, like if your parents are not gonna like fucking abandon you or anything, but I'm pretty sure that like if you're doing porn, your mom and dad are just like, what did we do to call, like what happened, why is she doing this? um And yeah, and then it's always the same story where it's like 18-year-old girl gets roped into like some situation where she's like doing porn and then like gets out of it years later and talks about like how manipulative and awful these production companies can be or whatever, like how exploitive it is. And it's like, yeah, I mean, what did you think was going to happen? I don't know like why you thought like going into that particular business was going to somehow be like this rewarding creative endeavor. I don't know what's going through their heads. That's why I can't fucking stand it now that like all these like legitimate um like shows or whatever. Like I see it now where these different podcasts or shows and stuff like that are like more and more starting to have like porn stars on to interview them and talk to them about their careers and stuff. And I'm always just like, what these ladies don't have anything to say. They have nothing to talk about because their lives are spent in just like a haze of dicks and cum, and there's nothing interesting about them. There's nothing interesting about going into that business, and it always feels like weirdly just more exploitive to like bring someone like that onto a show and be like, yeah, so what made you decide to get fucked professionally as when you were 18? Like what led to that decision? Why did you choose to go into like what has been documented as one of the worst, most abusive, exploitive businesses like of all time? Why'd you choose to work in the same industry that had Tara Patrick doing porn when she was 16? Was it no, not Tara Patrick? Who am I thinking of? Who is the one? Tracy Lords is who I'm thinking of. She was the one that was. She was like 16 or 17 when she started. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I definitely have porn. I have a difficult relationship with all of it because I have spent a lot of time watching porn, and it's really gross. It's awful what it does to your mind. What's funny is like I guess like women tend to like not watch porn as much as men, so it's like really interesting to like talk to just a regular woman who like doesn't know anything about like porn or what's going on with it. Like a woman friend of mine was recently telling me she like had never heard of like a cream pie before, and I'm like, wait, what? How do you not? How are you just now learning about what that is? And it's, I mean, like honestly, it's literally the most natural thing that can happen. You know, the fucked up thing is that the default setting in pornography is to pull your cock out and then start jerking off and bust all over her face. And that's God. That's not where God wanted you to put that. He wanted you to leave it in and bust inside of her. But I guess that's like not as like visually appealing for the most part as pulling your dick out and masturbating and coming all over a woman's face. There's something more cinematic about that move than just like busting inside and then she has to like spread her lips open and you just see it kind of like bubble out, just sort of ooze out like like you poked a hole in a Stretch Armstrong action figure. Is That's what a cream pie looks like. That's what it looks like when a semen drips out of a woman's pussy. Is like poking a hole in a Stretch Armstrong action figure. Um, I used to have a Stretch Armstrong when I was a kid. They brought them back for a little while, like because I know it's like an old toy, but I remember being a kid and like they came back, and you like I remember having one, and it was like its own toy that you had to like if you didn't know any, but if you weren't careful, you had to like separate it from your other toys because if you just threw it in your toy trunk, you know, I had an ornate trunk at the foot of my bed for my toys. If you just threw it in there with your other toys, and it's gonna like and then you go like rooting around for toys later, and then at some point that thing's gonna fucking burst open, and now all of your whole trunk and all your toys are covered in like whatever the jizz inside of a Stretch Armstrong is, and you just ruined all your fucking toys with like what is arguably a really shitty toy. Like, what is the what's the idea? Is it's like a guy made of rubber but filled with some kind of jizz, so it's like you could stretch him and pull him, but not too much because it won't only just break, it'll actually make a fucking mess everywhere and make everything sticky. What an awful toy. Whereas it's like you could there are like toys, elastic toys that aren't filled with jizz, but for whatever reason this company was like, all right, what if we made a toy that you could stretch and bend and twist, but here's the kicker, it's filled with jizz. We fill the Stretch Armstrong with jizz, and then now people have to buy more of them because eventually this fucking thing's gonna bust open, and then kids are gonna have jizz everywhere from the Stretch Armstrong, and I gotta go to the store and buy another one. But I would assume that most parents, after the first time that happened, would be like, "No, we're not getting you another fucking Stretch Armstrong." And then you're a kid, and you're like, "Well, how about this new thing called Nickelodeon Gack? How about you hook me up with some of that?" They were toy companies when I was a kid were really making a lot of effort to just like fuck up people's houses. It was like there was the Stretch Armstrong, there was Gack, there was like all kinds of like oozes, goops, and slimes that you could get when I was a kid. And it was just like, God forbid you had carpet in the house because like all this shit was just gonna completely fuck up the floor of your house. Um, and it was all, and all of it was like terrible because like I remember having Gack as a kid, and it like what would happen is that you pull it out and you'd like be able to have fun with it and do like make it squish it and it would make fart noises and stuff like that. But then like inevitably it's gonna like a hair is gonna fall in it and like all this other like dirt and debris is gonna get inside of this shit. And so now you just have like this sticky the ball like slime ball filled with like hair and pennies and candy canes and like just different viscera that it may have picked up along the way, and it's just a petri dish that you're playing with every time you crack it open. Now you start playing with your gack, and then the entire fucking house has to get quarantined because you're walking around with like a ball of slime filled with every like piece of dirt and bacteria that was in the house. Yeah, it was a strange time, and that was probably I was probably like the last generation of kids that was getting toys, right? Because what do kids still have toys? Are kids still do kid like that's the thing? Do children still play with toys? Because it seems like the toy market now might be for adults who can't escape their childhood. Like they're stuck in that mindset. Like I don't know if I've seen a kid play with Legos ever as me an adult. I don't know if I've ever come across anything on the internet that would lead me to believe that children are playing with Legos. It seems to be mostly adults who go out and spend $700 on like a Millennium Falcon Lego set, and then they put it on YouTube where it's like, I just got the Star Wars Lego set. I'm so excited to try it. And it's like, well, that's for children, but whatever. I guess that's the world we live in now. Um, Funko Pops, another one where it's like, hey, are you a fucking loser stuck in the past? Well, how about a $6 million man Funko Pop or what? I guess they make one in every character now. Um, that's a good scam. Just do like the most minimalistic bullshit fucking version, like toy version of every character that's ever existed, so that autistic grown autistic men can line their shelves with this bullshit. One of the worst fucking toys I've ever seen. um yeah. I'm not. I'll never collect toys. I'm never gonna collect fucking anything. I hate having stuff. I've like bought so much shit in the past and just end up throwing so much shit away and all that. And it's like, man, like owning stuff's a pain in the ass. And people are so obsessed with just like owning tons and tons of things, whether it's like vinyl or books or DVDs, Blu-rays, and all that kind of shit. And I, my grandma, my grandma, on my mom's side, like a few years ago, her fucking trailer burned to the ground, and like she was like a hoarder, not like not like you see on TV. She just had like a lot of stuff, just like tons of VHS tapes and dolls and like knickknacks and stuff. It wasn't like the the stuff you see on TV where it's like really gross and people are shitting in their hat like just all over the house. It's just like she just had like a lot of stuff, but it was at least organized in some way. But then everything it burned down and like all that stuff's gone now, and it just made me realize like owning stuff's a pain in the ass. And then like if any sort of act of God happens or your life just gets fucked up for whatever reason, you just lose all of it anyway. Like I don't, I understand like the mind of like wanting to collect stuff. I used to do it myself with like comic books and stuff like that, but it's just it's wait, what am I? I mean, this is fuck, dude. This is just the old George Carlin joke. I just realized I'm just doing like a shitty version of that. I yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just realized that recently though. Just like I'll see like videos online, like these windows into people's lives, and just see like how much shit they have in their fucking house, and I'm like, I don't know how you're affording all of this. I guess because I've never had money myself, but also like this would just like stress me to no end to own that much fucking just like that many knickknacks and doodads and all these like weird items and stuff like that. It's like I want to live as minimal as possible, dude. I got a stick with a bindle on the end of it, and then I just hop, I hit the rails. I hop in the box car. I sleep on a bale of hay. You know, I mean, yeah, I guess if I had money, I would own stuff. I remember the first time I went to like a really really rich person's house. There was in Dallas this like some like video game. It was like some guy that like owned a video game company or some like multimillionaire had converted the basement in his house into a comedy club. So it was like I remember like I forget like what the deal was with this guy. Somebody met some other comedian met him, and then that person reached out to me and was like, "Hey, this like really rich guy wants us to like do a show in his basement, and do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds cool. I'll try that." So I went over to this house. It was like a fucking mansion, and he had like catering. There was like catering there for this like comedy show. Really nice spread, like really good food. And it was such a nice place that I felt bad for being there. I was like, oh yeah, this ain't the kind of place that it's like you're usually invited into. But I do remember like walking in, and the first thing I saw in the foyer was like this piece of like modern art, like just like this big canvas with it was one of those like sort of like minimalistic pieces where it's just like broad strokes of paint, but it looked really cool to me. Like it was one of those like you could tell it was good quality paint they were using. I don't know anything about art. It just looked cool. I just thought like, oh, this is like visually this like captured my attention. And I think the owner's wife came and stood next to me. She was looking at it with me, and we started talking. I was like, man, I really like this. Like, I was like, if you don't mind me asking, like, what is this? What is this? And she was like, telling me about the artist and like the guy who painted it, where they bought it from, and all that. And I was like, so how much does something like this cost? And I think it was like at least $1 million that had been spent on this painting. And I do remember, like, I still feel this way. It's like, if I was rich as fuck, this is what I'd be spending my money on, is good ass art. I could see myself really getting into shit like that if I, if I had millions of dollars to throw around. But then, like, so we all went in the basement for the show, and he really did had like converted the entire fucking basement of his house into a comedy club, complete with like he had like installed a, like a brick wall just for the just for the stage. Like, he had installed like this a piece part of the wall to be like a brick wall with the name of the club on it, which was, it was like, Steve's house, Steve's basement comedy club. So he had like converted the entire fucking basement of his house to be a comedy club, because he was just like this eccentric, like, video game designer who and made tons and tons of money, was like a big fan of comedy. So he was like, "Do all you broke fucking comics want to come to my mansion and eat good ass food and do comedy?" And I was like, "Absolutely." And yeah, it's, interesting to see the get to experience like real class divide, because I don't come from money. I've never like made any real money in my life, so I don't typically get to hang around with highfalutin type of folk. And so it was really jarring to be like, it was like the first time in my life I've been around people who have like millions of dollars. And it is like this stark contrast where it's like, oh, I don't even think we're like the same species. Like, there's not, I can't possibly relate to any of you in any tangible way, because the life that I live is so vastly different than the life you live. Like, we have nothing, it's, I can't. It's like, do you like Vienna sausages? What do you think? What do you think of Vienna sausages, ma'am? I know your handbag costs $7,500, but have you ever tried potted meat? Have you ever, you ever tried deviled ham? It's, there's a whole aisle at the grocery store that's different kinds of like meat in a can. I don't know if you know that, ma'am. Not just, in fact, like, spam is too. I don't know if you know this, miss. By the way, nice shoes. How much are? Oh, they're $2,500 pair of shoes. Anyway, I don't know if you know this, but yeah, there's more canned meats than just spam. In fact, a lot of people don't even realize spam is one of the more expensive of the canned meats. If you're buying meat in a can, you do tend to, if you want to save money, you do tend to want to go with your Vienna sausages or potted meat, perhaps pickled pig's feet. Spam is a little more fancy than all the others when it comes to the canned meat proteins. And don't even get me started on tuna. Don't even get me started on cans of tuna. Get out of here with that Star Kiss. That's a damn brand name. All right, we out here getting that Kirkland tuna, that great value. Um, what is canned tuna, by the way? Because I've had like actual tuna, and it's awesome. Like the real like pink tuna that you get on like sushi and stuff. It's like, that's incredible. But then like the stuff in a can has more of like, I guess that's why they call it chicken of the sea, because it does have more of a chicken like consistency to it. It looks like chicken, and it's all diced up, and it doesn't resemble tuna in any way. And it's, yeah, it's always, it's like, what is this? It also like sucks. Like the tuna in a can. Like, if I was to get like a real fresh piece of real tuna, like at a sushi place, if I'm getting nigiri, you know, I could eat that by itself. Maybe, I guess it comes on rice or whatever, but you know what I mean? It's very minimal. So I could just eat that as plain as possible and really enjoy it. But if I, like, tuna in a can, the only way it's good is if you dress it up like with a bunch of other shit. You know what I mean? So it's like the tuna just becomes like the delivery system for a fuckload of mayonnaise and relish and mustard, and then you put it on a cracker. So you do like you the tuna is like serving as like the protein you're eating, but it sucks so fucking much that you got to dress it up with all this other shit and then put it on a cracker or bread. So you're doing like everything you can to actually mask the flavor of the tuna itself. Because it's awful. It's like one of the it's just an unpleasant experience all around. Like opening a can of tuna, it always feels like I'm working with like plutonium. Because if like any of the tuna juice gets anywhere, well now the whole kitchen's gonna stink for a fucking week. So you have to handle it like it's hazardous materials, like just opening a can of tuna and then taking it over to the sink to like dump all the fucking juice out. Um, yeah, because if you get that juice anywhere, it's just gonna it'll drive you fucking nuts. Like how much that stinks for like for how long it stinks. Um, and then like it's psychotic if you're eating that shit straight out of the can. You gotta mix it up with little Duke's mayonnaise. I go Duke's. Some people go Hellman's. I don't know who the fuck is using Miracle Whip. That shit's crazy. It's not even really mayonnaise, but yeah, I go Duke's. Do a little relish, maybe a little mustard, or maybe not mustard. Well, I don't know, whatever, and a little salt and pepper. And then you could make a sandwich with it. You could do a tuna melt, but I like to go just Ritz crackers, baby. Put some of that tuna on a Ritz cracker. That ain't bad, after you dress it up. But I would never eat it just by itself. Um, I'll tear up some Vienna sausages though, just straight out the can. Those have like a very specific flavor. you know, if you're Vienna sausages are like, I guess if a hot dog is too expensive for you at the moment, you could go for a can of Viennas. Um, but I grew up eating because my whole family is hillbillies and rednecks, so that was a staple of our diet growing up was Armor brand Vienna sausages, and I don't know what makes them Vienna. I don't think they come. I don't think that's like a part of the cuisine of Vienna is like a highly processed meat product like that. But I've eaten a lot. I had some last night. I like them. Um, Man, it must be nice to have fucking money and just be able to actually go eat real food. Goddamn sick of just eating dog shit. Subscribe to the fucking Patreon, please, so I can actually eat something that's real again. I'm tired of eating protein blocks made out of bugs and organs. I'd love to eat like an actual dinner again. I guess this is my fault. It's my fault that I'm in this situation. I'm at the very back of the train on the Snowpiercer, and I'm just trying to get my way to the front and kill Ed Harris. Trying to kill Ed Harris. Is Ed Harris? Is he a leading? He's not really been a leading man, has he? He's more of a guy. He's more of a like a character actor. I like him a lot though. Um, yeah, Snowpiercer's dope. That's I don't. That was like the funny thing, like the conversation I just had with Nick Oldershaw. We were talking about like old Hollywood and stuff, and he did make a good point about how like old Hollywood stories were stories of just like maniacs being truly like doing like really incorrigible like destructive things, but they were like movie stars, so it was always like this is badass that these guys are like getting into this kind of trouble. And now it's like I just saw that like it was like a GQ article or something where it's like Chris Evans said that he wants to like slow down on acting and do like less work. because he's like, you gotta think about, like, when's it filming? Is it in the fall? I love the fall. I don't want to miss the fall. And so he says some shit like this, and then like all these people are like, hey man, you've earned it. You've put in the work and all that. And it's like, fuck you, dude. Like you want okay, so what you're saying is you want to take time off from a job that's like not real. It's arguably probably one of the best jobs in the world where you only work like if maybe a few months out of the year, and then you could just fuck off and go like really enjoy life. Or I don't know how it works, but it's just I don't like, how am I supposed to feel about like a guy who could just completely quit everything and be comfortable forever, saying that he wants to like take less roles because he wants to like watch the leaves change color. Like, why are you printing this? What am I supposed to think about this? It's like, oh, that I mean, that's cool, man. I have like $300 in my bank account right now. Like, I don't understand how, like, why I'm being made privy to this information. Now, if you were to get drunk and drive your car into a fucking building, that's a story, and I can relate to that. I would enjoy that story, but telling me that you feel like you're taking on too much work to enjoy the seasons change. It's like, buddy, almost nobody gets to enjoy any aspect of their life, and you're living like the best life out of you're like. There's just, it's like I don't expect these people to be relatable in any way, but it's like don't show me shit like that. So now I just get mad, and then I'm mad at all of them, and then it's like, you know what? I hope the fucking studios don't pay anyone anymore. I hope the strike never ends, and then all you fucking people have to go figure out something fucking else to do. Because this shit, it's driving me. Mark Wahlberg said the same thing. He's like, "Hey, I gotta take a break from acting. I'm acting too much." And it's like, you don't have to do anything ever again. Like, why do we need to know this? Why do we need to know like your inner thoughts and plans and goals and dreams at this point? It's like, either act or don't. Like, I did Jack Nicholson ever make like any real statement saying he was gonna like go into hiding and just like take a I don't, none of it, it's just not relatable, and it just makes me like, I read it and I'm like, I don't like, okay, what do I do with this information? Like, how is this a story that you're thinking of not acting as much? Like, okay, so you're saying you don't want to do your job anymore, and that is to be celebrated? Okay. You could, or you could have just not printed this. I don't need to know this. You know, it's whatever. Um, yeah. I mean, fuck them. Sucks that like, out of all the unions that exist, like the two of the last like remaining old school unions are like the WGA and SAG, where it's like filled with the most fucking annoying, dumbass, awful, dipshit, fucking privileged people. Like, I know some people are losing their asses right now, but it's like every selfie video I see of Adam Conover, it's like, I hope all of you go homeless. He is not doing you any favors with those videos. Like, man, you just the most annoying fucking like, just all like, oh god, I hate him so much. Every selfie video of Adam Conover on the picket line, it's like, I hope all of you lose your fucking houses just because of this guy. Jesus Christ. Um, and what is that? What is that haircut? God damn, I hate that dude. Um, yeah. Honestly, I guess if I was a TV writer, I'd be just as annoying, perhaps. You know, it's also so insulting. It's like, I guess like it makes sense that they would want, these studios should be paying people more, but it's like the fact that all these people are on strike means that like all the crew members, like all these other like union people, like grips and lighting or whatever the fuck, they're also not getting to work right now because of this shit. And like, and they don't have like, I don't think they have like any real bargaining power with anything. If like I don't know like how any of that works, but it's like they're just like in a position where it's like, well, fuck, nobody's making anything, so we have like no work right now. And nobody cares about them. Nobody cares about the guy who holds the boom mic or the guy who like plugs in the lights and shit like that. When it's like they probably do like more actual tangible work than six Harvard graduates sitting in an air conditioned room trying to figure out what's going to happen on this week's episode of whatever fucking sitcom, whatever dopey fucking show is on now. I don't watch any of that shit now. I just watch like YouTube videos of people reacting to other people's reactions of things. It's like a reaction video to a reaction video to a reaction video. An infinite hallway of mirror, like a funhouse mirrors. And that's my goal. That's my dream job, is just to react to things that people are reacting to, and the work I do is just reacting to the work of other people, and their work is reacting to the work of other people, and their work is reacting, and then who knows who actually did the original work, and that's Simulacra and Simulation by Jean Baudrillard, one of maybe two or three philosophical treatises I've read, and I'll force that one into any conversation, whether it fits or not, to make myself feel smart. All right, well that's it. I'm done.